It just ended.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm like, really? That's how y'all gonna do me?
Man.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
We good, right?
Yep.
Yes.
This is that was hilarious. It stopped right at the end of the video.
The one thing that they need to realize is we black folks, we've been going through this for a long time. We
Right.
get it.
Yes. Yes.
We
So,
get it.
but check out. We go.
Because it's like
Okay, we about to go back.
just like
We about to go back
the
live,
first
y'all.
statement he okay.
Hold on. Okay, we're live. So that was hilarious, you know. Uh,
Mhm.
so we back live, and let's see if y'all
I want
refresh
to point
y'all.
out something
Go ahead,
real
Eb.
quick. One thing we need to point out. What year was that speech in? My Mars.
1967.
Any guess what the? Let me just say this. That only changed by zero point 0.9 million.
Wow.
35.9 million people are living in poverty. So what's noticeable about what he said is he didn't say black people. He said people, which meant that he
People.
was
Hmm.
talking about all the people. What's also
Right.
notable is that he said our nation,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think there's something to be said about the statements he made. And I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Everybody else
I
comment on
mean,
that.
you could go ahead and go deeper, man.
Yeah. My one of my favorite quotes that he said, which was good and actually talks about some of that,
Mm-hmm.
is he just America to be true to what you said on paper.
Right.
And every time I hear an argument against freedom and equality, I say, okay, if they wouldn't have promised it, we wouldn't be asking for it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Be true to
Right.
what you said on paper. If you didn't mean it, then don't say it. Okay,
Right.
okay. If you say we're not gonna do that, okay, we all get it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna give all of everybody guns free. Okay, we got that. We okay with that. But when you said it and it applies to a certain segment, then you must say to yourself that means everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It does not. Those of us that have lived through some eras, I haven't always had the opportunities I've gotten them because of people that came before me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. But let's not trick ourselves, black MAGA people, and say
Hmm.
that time is over with,
Mm-hmm.
that racism is dead.
So
Apparently, you are forgetting something, and you'll be reminded. Trust me, we've all lived long enough to know when we forget, we get reminded very fast.
Mm-hmm.
so let me throw this in there too. Um, for a country that is so adamant about sticking to your contracts and your nuptial agreements and all of these things that are on paper that have been the foundation of the law, but you created a constitution that you don't even want to stick to on paper.
Right.
So you're going to tell us on one hand, we got to stick to the paper, but you're going to do whatever. And that's the controversy that comes on. We were talking earlier, and I think I'm the oldest one here. I was 13 years old when they assassinated Martin Luther King. I had a chance to meet him and be part of what was going on politically in Cleveland, Ohio, who was the first major American city to have a black mayor,
Mm-hmm.
Carl
Stokes.
B.
Yep.
Stokes. And it touched me personally because his bodyguard, Bosie Mack, had a wife, Lois Mack, who was my mother's best friend.
Oh, okay.
So we were in that area, in the Lee Harvard area, that was just recently being integrated. My parents bought their first home in 1960 and still live there. That the reality is they tried to protect me from my mom. So I could not get involved with those things that was happening down on Huff, but I listened to what the adults had to say. And so what I got from Martin Luther King and my favorite quote is one that says, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Right.
Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And I'm involved in a urban Mennonite church, and the sermon's message was his quote that says, "I have decided to stick with love."
Mm-hmm.
Love is a decision, not a feeling. And so that's where I want to open the show.
That sounds good. What you got to say, Sharon?
So his very first statement resonated with me. He said, America is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, and it's been 50, almost 57 years since you've been gone. And guess what? It's still sick,
Mm.
if not even sicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my favorite quotes is, and the late great Black Eagle, Joe Madison, is the one that often used this quote. And it reminds me so much of him, but it's nothing in the world is more dangerous than
Mm-hmm.
sincere ignorance
Yep.
and conscientious stupidity.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fitting right now
Mm-hmm.
because we have too many people that fall in that category. And one of the things that I realize with a lot of people, because they want to make what we're going through normal and what we're seeing, they want to make it okay. And when you talk to them, they won't even listen to the facts. They just disband the facts that you are trying to bring into the conversation. They don't want to hear it
Mm-hmm.
because they want to normalize what's going on. And so, and a lot of it is some people that I think are really just sincerely ignorant when you listen to their conversation. And then some of it is just conscientious stupidity. And sometimes you wonder, can you be that stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so so I think that one is every time I hear somebody, try to make this administration okay, that's the one quote of Dr. King that I always think about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when people are you gonna stop playing games? Because some of them know better, but and another thing is so many people are one idea um candidate. And so because something that they so wanted to end is happening, they're okay with everything else. Now I might lose my social security, price is high, my children, I don't know what this country is going to look like in terms of for my children, but I'm okay
Mm-hmm.
because this one thing that I wanted to happen is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sickness of America that we're living in right now.
Yeah, that made me when I saw that clip, and that was the first time I heard that clip was this morning. I was just searching through some controversial clips of MLK, and it made me think of the word sick. The United States has been trying to heal itself. I'm not saying every one, but as a country, we say racism is behind us. We say division and discrimination is behind us. We're doing better as a country. People are making money. People are buying houses. Um, but I think all those things are good for families. But the actual wound just has a band-aid over it. It's never been truly healed, and our country's been trying to find a way to heal what ever since I would say before the Civil Rights Act, but the Civil Rights Act was supposed to have been the ointment you put on to heal. Is how you would figure that, you would think that, because when you
But
bring
Mar,
go ahead.
but Mars, we all know that with any injury, if you don't get out the core,
Right.
Mhm.
it just festers.
That's the point I'm making.
So Donald J. Trump was the one who ripped the scab off of a festering wound,
Yeah.
and his just outright ugliness revealed the covert racism that had been building up
Mm-hmm.
in people.
Oh, I
And
agree.
everybody wants to be mean. They
Mm-hmm.
just want to be mean. But what they don't understand is each of us, EB, Sharon, you, me, we live in different places.
Mm-hmm.
And the rhythm is different in all of those places.
Mm-hmm.
So there can't be one answer that fits. And white America wants us to believe that there should be a cubby hole that we fit into where you can't put a round peg in a square hole.
Right,
I
right.
just won't fit.
Oh, totally agree. Mm-hmm.
And that's what Black people are, is that round peg. And they thought that they could beat it, shave it, separate it, erase all of the history, and it's just not going to work because we're not going anywhere.
I think it's something, Greg, you said it, right? I think that 47 brought out or gave people an excuse to do something they always felt, right? I think we need to, in my opinion, we need to start calling it what it is. They want to give favor to anybody that's not white males, period. If we say it that way, then we can start looking at how the history matches up with it. They want to give the power structure to anybody else, right? To anybody else that's not white males. They don't want to give the power to, is what I mean.
Right.
So that is the way it's always been. And if they have their way, they're going to do it that way. The problem they're having is they're getting outnumbered. And the demographics don't line up with all of the power struggle.
They've already been outnumbered.
But yeah, you're correct. But that's why they are doing so much to kind of keep the power encapsulated. All we need to do together, brown and black people and women and children,
Mm-hmm.
is continue to fight. I know that sounds like a cliche, but we have nothing else left to do
Right.
but to hold on, to keep fighting. We're going to outlast them
Right.
because they have to go to bed every night with that hate and be strategic in how they hate. That takes a lot of work. To me, that's a lot of work when all you got to do, like Greg said, is we just need to love.
Yeah.
If we just love people, sometimes you can change things. We can see it in our family and in our children and things. But they don't know that. Again, we just need to stick together, which is struggle for us in this country because we find different things, gay, straight, black, white, to look at each other differently. But we're the ones that should be in control, but we're not, because we could keep putting these people with power struggles in power.
Right.
And you know, you said something too that came to my mind is the hate, and they don't realize that that hate makes the body at a dis-ease. And I don't know if you've ever heard they say a dis-ease body brings on disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so they better be careful with that. You know,
Yeah.
they're their own destruction. And I don't think they realize it.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Well, they're not thinking. They're not using
Below
real
Mars.
soft,
Okay.
but they're not thinking in terms of when you made us as Black people on this planet be the very best that we could be, you automatically lost the war.
Right.
Now you can fight as many battles as you want to, but the war is done. All I have to do is make sure that I follow the steps of my grandfather, my great grandfather, my great great grandfather, and do those things that take care of my family, my neighbors, build community, and we'll outlast you because your hate
Yeah.
is going to drive you insane.
You think that's what we're
Hmm.
seeing right now? Like the scrambling. Well, before I go there, because we're talking about the administration a lot. Have you ever heard somebody in a speech, a Martin Luther King Day speech, where everybody talks about unity, to actually target an administration? Because like MLK, when that in that video, he was targeting that current administration when he was talking in that video. Have you heard that recently? Of someone attacking the administration? Well, I have one here, and I want y'all to check it out.
Please join me in honoring Dr. Bernice A. King as she comes forth.
And
Thank you. Now, this is the day that the Lord has made. We ought to all rejoice and be glad in it. Let the redeeming of good. We must also confront the killing of truth. The recent claim by President Trump that the 1964 Civil Rights Act harmed white Americans is just wrong, and it's dangerous. It rewrites history in a way that fuels fear and resentment. My fathers and so many leaders of the movement, Fred Shuttlesworth, Diane Nash, John Lewis, I can call the roll, but I won't do it today, did not risk their lives to divide this nation. They did not risk their lives to divide this nation. They did so because America was denying millions basic rights, the right to work, the right to vote, to live where they please, to move through society with dignity. The Civil Rights Act did not give black people special treatment. It made discrimination illegal. The same discrimination you're trying to turn around and use. It required the law to protect everyone equally. That is democracy. So to my white brothers and sisters, the Civil Rights Act was never meant to harm you. It was meant to heal a nation broken by injustice. Fairness does not steal from you. Justice strengthens us all. And so we must not fall for the politics of fear, the lie that we must choose between one another to thrive. America is stronger when more people are included, when we are united in respect and love, not when we retreat in fear. The beloved community is not built by blaming one another. It's built by protecting the dignity of everyone. And so, on this King holiday, we are not going backwards.
That's right. That's right. Amen. Amen. I say.
I'm going to cut it right there, but you got the gist of where she was going with that speech. That was today. That was the first time that I can recall hearing a Martin Luther King Day speech directly attack an administration and call out the president by name. It needed to be done, yes, but
But why is that? Why is that?
why
I'm
is
posing that question.
why is what part?
Why hasn't anyone confronted him on these days? Why?
They
I'm
can't they haven't. I mean, outside of a speech like this or your own podcast or being in an interview, he won't step in front of you anyway because he's not going to know how to speak. He's not going to know how to act. He won't put himself in a position. If you notice over the last, I'll say 5 to close to 10 years now, that these controversial, especially MAGA type people, nobody in this administration will appear on a broadcast where they would be confronted with the tough truth. Like me and Greg, we listen to Karen Hunter all the time. She says it. They ain't gonna come on my show because they don't want to answer the tough questions. And see, they don't realize that even for Donald Trump can go in front, say whatever his policy he wants to have on something. If he talked to everyone, like talk to that audience and give a understanding of where your agenda is leading to. Your actions right now are showing that you are doing everything against democracy. But I mean, I'll use the immigration issue because that's been the big, or even the border itself, because he started with the border. He didn't go on the opposition's telecast broadcast or anything to explain himself. And if he had concrete, and I'm leading up to something when I say this, we all know the answer to this. He won't go in front of the people that will confront him, just like no one in that administration will. So instead of confronting the issue and trying to reason with people, you rather continue to stir this controversy. The controversy brings in the numbers, the votes, the clicks, all that stuff. And that's what makes him thrive. Remember, he's coming out of TV. When you're on TV, what matters more than anything? Your ratings. And he
But
treats
see
his
that
presidency like ratings. And that's why you ask the question why nobody is confronting him or said those things, because they haven't been in a position to say it to him to his face. Broadcast
I'll
wise,
tell you
it
what.
can be manipulated. Just like this clip that they're gonna hear it. And they're gonna probably attack her character on this video. But they would never confront her face to face because they're too coward to do it.
No, they're going to attack her dad. They're not
They,
going to attack her. They're
they
going to
could.
attack her dad.
I
They're
don't
going to bring up. They're going back to the past because the reality is, and I know this for a fact, that a person with mental illness does not get better,
yeah. Oh
and a
wow.
person
Yeah.
with dementia does not have a grip on reality. And had our family not surrounded my dad with love and encased him with love and a safe space for him to be himself, they're trying to monetize him.
Mm.
He just got people around and they want him to be the figurehead while they destroy the United States.
Yeah.
They tried it the first term, it didn't work. They found out what they did wrong, did it better, and came back with it with the Project 2025. And
Yeah.
now we see what's happening. And everybody wants to say, well, I got this opinion and this policy and this whatever. This whole criminal enterprise, thank you, Dr. Greg Carr,
Hmm.
is going to burn down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
one of
would,
the reasons why they don't have to is because they got a bunch of people doing it for them, right?
Yeah.
right.
Even on Prim, right?
Yeah.
I love the engagement, but some things people ought to just not talk. They ought not comment because you can't be. I just said this to you earlier. I'm having a hard time believing that somebody could be that ignorant. There's no way. If you can read fifth grade English, you can understand what equality looks like. Even if you don't agree with me, right? Even if I don't agree with that person, we've all had roles on jobs where people got promotions that we didn't think deserve it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we didn't go out and most people don't go behind their back and try to do everything they can to make sure they don't get the job because we don't believe they deserve it.
Right.
There's something wrong with your character when you do stuff like
Mhm.
that. Whether people want to say, well, maybe they have a different faith in God than we, whatever, right? If you're that ignorant and you want to get on and post comments on and tweets agreeing with the president who has 100 Secret Service agents around him, you have to go to the corner store. You have to walk around the same neighborhood. Somebody's going to see your face. And then you have the nerve to post pictures of your face on Facebook saying these dumb things.
Mhm.
This is why the administration don't have to do their own bidding, because ignorant people are
Yeah.
continue to doing their bidding, not even realizing that when he leaves office, they're left in the open.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that clip of Ted Cruz talking to Tucker Carlson about Iran. I
Mm-mm.
didn't prepare that clip, but just what you're saying, they do their bidding for him to show you how stupid they expose not only themselves but the whole administration they support, and they don't even realize it. And I would love to find the clip. If I find this clip a little bit later, I might throw it up there. But in that same vein about exposing people, um, I'm sure you all heard that by now that Don Lemon was in Minnesota. So while he was in Minnesota, there was he was there for the protests, and the the crowd that was protesting was an organization. He was following them. He was just doing his journalistic work like he normally do, and they end up going into a church. So I want to show you what that looks like. Let me find that clip wherever it's at. It's here somewhere. Where is it at? Right here. So I don't. Well, let's rewind it back a little bit. Freedom of speech has taken a lot of turns over the past couple of years. You know that, right? Some things you can say is freedom of speech, and some things you can't say. What's really been targeted lately is journalism. Journalists have been snatched from their jobs off of broadcast, off of stations. They're all resorting now to streaming platforms to still do their work as a journalist. I've seen many events that take place where a journalist is live on the scene doing a report. This is the first time I've seen a journalist live on the scene do his report, and then the DOJ investigate them and want to enact the Ku Klux Klan Act of 71. You know, at the time the Klan used to burst into buildings and snatch people out and all these things. They're trying to charge Don Lemon and these protesters with the KKK Act of which is a felony. That's what they're trying to charge this man with for doing his job as a journalist, and they're saying he was part of this. And I'm going to play 2 videos for you and let y'all check it out yourself. Here we go.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere, they don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them.
Did they explain to you why they're here?
They did not.
They said that there is someone here in Easterwood, who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest.
There's a varying array of views in this church on politics of immigration. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
This shows you just how divided America is. When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying, and you know what was the interesting thing? If these 2 groups could just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up. I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch. This guy here, look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. They think you lost and this didn't accomplish anything, and you went into their house, the house of the Lord.
The reality is the house of the Lord is a place where love lives. It's not a place where you can have a pastor masquerading as the director for the field office of ICE in St. Paul.